Hello, we are back again for another day of lesson. Before we go on, do well to follow, subscribe to this channel, like it and share it to your loved ones and also to your friends. Today we are going to be looking at another aspect of indices, as you can see here on the board. We are asked to simplify 36 raised to power 1 all over 2 times 64 raised to power minus 1 all over 2 times 5 raised to power 0. In mathematics, we have many ways of solving problems in mathematics. We have many methods of approach, but we arrive at the same answer. So listen and look at the method I'm going to apply here. See how simple it is. Like I said, I'm going to make mathematics very simple for you. So you do yourself good by updating yourself in this channel. Look at how I'm going to solve this problem. It's as simple as ABC. Following our rules is easy. So look at what we are going to do here. Now this is indices problems. Now 36 raised to power half, 64 raised to power minus 1 all over 2 times 5 all over 0. Now what the first thing you need to do in this case is you clear this negative index. So you are going to have 36 raised to power half times, to clear the negative index, you remove this minus, it will be reciprocal of the base raised to power 1 all over 2. That is 1 all over 6, 4 raised to power 1 all over 2 times 5 raised to power 0. Now we have removed the minus index. So this means 36 raised to power 1 over 2 means you look for the square root, the root of 36. And the root of this 36 depends on the denominator of the power. And the denominator of the power here is 2. So you are going to have the square root of 2. Of square root of 36. So since it is 2 is square root, you don't need to put the 2 inside the square root here. Square means 2. So it becomes square root of 36 times, this means 1 all over square root of 64 times 5 raised to power 0 is 1. So that is what you need to take note. Follow this process. It will be easy for you. So now in this case, square root of 36, since square root is 2, you look for a number that when you multiply that number by itself 2 times will give you 36. And the only number that we can multiply by itself 2 times to give us 36 is 6. So 6 times 6 will give you 36. So the square root of 36 will be 6 times 1 all over. You also look for a number that when you multiply that number 2 times by itself will give us 64. And the number we can multiply 2 times to give you 64 is 8. 8 times 8 will give you 64. So the square root of 64 is 8 times 1. Since we are multiplying this is fraction. We are multiplying 6 times 1 all over 8 times 1. We don't need to look for the LCM here in this case, because we are multiplying our fraction. So what we need to do in this case, you multiply numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator. So 6 here is a numerator, a whole number. 6 times 1 times 1. 6 times 1 is 1. 6 times 1 is 6. Times 1 is 6. So 6 times 1 times 1 is 6. All over this 8. Now when you have a problem like this, look at it. Whether you reduce this fraction to the lowest term. So now we now see that, okay, 6 cannot go into 8. Neither can 8 go into 6. You look for a number that can go into 6 and also go into 8. And that number is 2. You put 2 here 3 times. 2 here 4 times. So now we are going to have 3 all over 4. If you can see, this number cannot be further reduced. We have reduced 6 all over 8 to the lowest term, which is 3 all over 4. and also the numerator here is smaller than the denominator. This stands as the answer in the first case. So you can see how simple this problem is. So we are going to look at the second example. We are asked to evaluate So this is another problem we are asked to look for now. Evaluate this. 1 all over 364 all raised to power 1 all over 3 plus 64 raised to power minus 1 all over 3 minus 4 all over 9 raised to power minus 1 all over 2. So what we need to do here in this case is that remove the negative index, remove the minus from the powers now. You are going to be having so when you are removing this, become the reciprocal 1 all over 64 raised to power 1 all over 3 minus removing this become, now in this case, since it is a fractional base, you can now, to remove this, you invert the base by taking 9 up and bringing 4 down. You're going to have 9 all over 4 raised to power half. So that is what we have done. You can see how simple it is. So from here, this 1 all over 346 raised to power 1 all over 3 is the same thing as this 3 is guiding the numerator and the denominator. So we are going to look for the cube root of this. Cube root of 1 all over 343 plus 1 all over, we look for the cube root of 64. Cube root of 64 minus, here we look for the square root. Since 1 over 2 is guiding numerator and denominator, we look for the square root of the numerator and the denominator, which is 9 all over 4. So from here, the cube root of 3 is 1. The cube root of 343. So cube root of 1 is 3. That is, you look for a number that will multiply that number 3 times will give you, yes. So cube root of 1 is 3. Is 1. So because 1 times 1 times 1 will give you 1. Now the cube root of 343. The cube root of 343 is 7. So when you multiply 7 3 times will give you 343. That is 7 times 7 times 7 will give you 343 plus 1 all over the cube root of 64. The cube root of 64 is 4. When you multiply 4, you for a number that when you multiply 3 times by itself will give you 64. So 4 times 4 times 4 will give you 64. Now the cube root of 64 is 4 minus. Now you now look for the square root of 9 and square root of 4. Square root of 9 will give is 3 and the square root of 4 is 2. So in this case, you look for the LCM. Since we are adding fraction in this case, we look for the LCM. So you are going to have, like we are told, the LCM is being determined by the denominator. The LCM is being determined by the denominator. So we are going to look for the LCM. So the LCM here is being determined here by the denominator of 7, 4, and 3. So you look for a number, the lowest numeral that 7, 4, and 2 can go without any remainder. So the lowest numeral from 2 up to 28. You see that? 28 is the lowest numeral. That is to say, the LCM of 7, 4, and 2 is 28. Is 28. So now 7 into 28 will give us, goes there 4 times. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 4 into 28 goes there 7 times. 7 times 1 is 7 minus 2 into 28. It goes there 14 times. 14 times 3 will give us 42. So now from here, we are going to be having 4 plus 7 is 11. 11 minus 42 is minus 31 all over this 28. So you can now see that this is minus 31 all over 28. So you can see that from this our problem here, in this case, the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So you look for a number and they are not divisible. No number can divide 31 and also go into 28. So what you need to do in this case is that you look for a number. You look for a number that when you multiply that number by the denominator, it will give you a result closer to 31. And what you add to 31 what you add to that result to give you 31 will be smaller than the numerator. I repeat, you look for a number that when you multiply that number by the denominator 28 will give you a result closer to 31, and the number that you add to that result to give you 31 will be smaller than the denominator, which is 28. So 1 is what we are going to look at now. 1 times 28 is 28. What will you add to 28 to give you 31? So we have 28, 29, 30, 31. So we'll add 3. So and 3 is smaller than the denominator. We are going to have 3 all over 28. So this is the answer. So you now see that 1 times 28 is 28 plus 3 is 31. So we are having minus 1 whole number, 3 all over 28. So this is the answer to this problem. This is what you need to do. Like I said, I'm going to make mathematics simpler and cheap for you. So keep yourself updated in this channel. You will see how simple mathematics is. Thank you. As we draw the curtain here, help to subscribe, help to follow, help to share and like this channel. You will be really updated. You are welcome. Thank you very much. As you watch me there, I'm going to give you assignment in our subsequent class. Thank you and thank you. You are welcome.